Today, we will talk about the Sudanese conflict, 1956 present. First, we need to talk about a brief history of Sudan. The Anglo-Egyptian Sudan gained independence on 1st January 1956 from the Kingdom of Egypt and the United Kingdom, and a new Democratic Republic of Sudan was formed. Now we will talk about the First Sudanese Civil War. Starting in 1955, the First Sudanese Civil War began when the Anyanya militia and its allies began fighting for the independence of South Sudan from Anglo-Egyptian Sudan. Even after Sudan's independence, the militias began fighting against the government of Prime Minister Ismail al-Azhari. Combat continued until 27th of March 1972, when the militias signed a peace agreement with the Sudanese government led by Ghaffar Nameri. The peace treaty was signed in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. The deal meant that the internal affairs of southern Sudan would be controlled by the Anyanya militants, while the external affairs would be controlled by the Sudanese government, meaning southern Sudan got autonomy. Will the peace last long? No. In 1983, President Ghaffar Nameri scrapped the treaty and the autonomy, making southern Sudan a proper part of Sudan. President Nameri also sent in troops to quell any opposition. The SPLM, Sudanese People's Liberation Movement, a group which consisted of former Anyanya militant soldiers as well as other fighters, rebelled. Heavy fighting began. However, President Ghaffar Nameri was deposed in a coup. The new government led by Sadiq al-Mahdi started a peace process. In 1999, when the peace treaty was very near, Lieutenant Colonel Omar al-Bashir overthrew the government and canceled the peace process. He sent in troops to suppress the rebels. Then, with the support of Ethiopia and Uganda, the SPLM also launched an offensive. Fighting continued until 2005, when finally the government, knowing that it was losing, signed a peace agreement in which, after a referendum in 2011, southern Sudan would gain independence. In 2011, after a referendum, an overwhelming majority said they wanted independence. And in 2011, South Sudan gained total independence. Are these two civil wars enough? Again, no. War in Darfur. The war in Darfur began in 2003 when a group of people lifted arms accusing President Omar al-Bashir of conducting a genocide against Darfuri people. The group of people was called the Justice and Equality Movement, or GM. They want reforms. Conflict in South Kordofan and Blue Nile. This conflict began on the 5th of June 2011 when the SPLM-N, Sudanese People's Liberation Movement North, began fighting for the independence of South Kordofan and Blue Nile. War in Sudan. The war in Sudan began in April 2023 when the RSF, Rapid Support Forces, launched a failed coup against military ruler Abdul Fattah al-Burhan. This led to a civil war-like situation between the RSF and the Sudanese government and army.